Hi, everyone. So exciting to do another one of these interviews today. If you missed the first two, they're in the group. You can find them. Timothy Huls and I are interviewing members of the group who are doing creative things in crazy times. So when you guys join, I've been posting these like welcome posts, and a lot of you commented with what you were up to, and it was super inspiring for me personally. And so I wanted more people to be able to be inspired by the cool things that you guys are doing. So we have Rafael Jordan here today, and we are going to be conducting a 20-ish minute interview that Timothy is going to be conducting. I just want to show you I'm going to share my screen to show you what he's been up to. He has created a sketch comedy web series with his sis family. And this is their YouTube channel, #theshow. I just wanted to show you guys a visual so you can see how cool it looks. You could check it out. We'll also put a link in the comments. And so I will stop share, and then I will stop me and hand it off to Timothy Huls and Rafael. Hit it.
Hey.
Hey.
Yeah.
Thank you. Good. Thank you so much for doing this, Rafael.
Yeah, no, thanks for inviting me, man. It's good to see you.
Likewise. Good to see you. It's so inspiring. You know, I was watching a lot of the videos last night, just cracking up.
Mhm.
A lot of them are recent. You've been working.
Oh yeah, we were pretty fortunate to get a really large grant from the New York City Mayor's office and the Women in Media Foundation. And planning out our shoot, we shot last November 2019. So
Wow.
just under the gun, in terms of all this, pandemic quarantine and stuff.
Wow. So what was that like submitting for a grant for this?
Well, me and my sister are a really great team together because while we're both actors and both creative, she has taken a little bit more of like a arts administrative side. And I kind of handle more of the like production, like let's get shooting and assemble the team side. So in terms of like the grant writing stuff, that's my sister just works her magic. She works for Fractured Atlas, which I'm
Yeah.
not sure if everybody knows about. Yeah. So even before she worked there, we also had kind of a theater company together. We'd be applying using Fractured Atlas for their, artist resources and stuff. And now that she works there, she, is processing grant applications all day long. So she is just she takes care of all of that. So for my side, it's pretty easy. My sister emails me, I need a bio, I need a headshot, I need this, and then I just send those things. And then
Wow.
she does what she does.
She's got the inside intel.
Yeah, yeah.
That's great. So have you been creating any content, any new sketches during quarantine, or has it just been like editing, post stuff?
Editing, exactly. Yeah, so we finished that full shoot, and then the difficult task was, how do we release this? And then during quarantine, that was, it was a nice focus for a while. It was very intensive because we decided to release once a week. And our original editor that we worked with a bunch, who's a friend of mine from undergrad, actually, was too busy with her full-time editing gig. So, I mean, and like we, again, through this grant, we're able to pay everybody, which was, amazing to do
Wow.
also.
Yeah.
But even then, it's like she's a full-time job editing for 90 Day Fiance. So that's exciting.
Oh, very cool. So you have a
So
professional. Wow, that's great.
yeah, so we had to hire 2 new editors. So that it was a really intensive process on the post-production side during quarantine. Then once we hired 2 editors, we hired 1 editor and then had to let the editor go because they couldn't handle it either. Hired 2 new editors, and then there's a process during quarantine pandemic in early times of March, April, to retrieve a drive from the first editor, drop it to the other 2 editors, and I'm riding the train, in the whole like
With like an external hard drive.
yeah, and like you don't need a mask, you do need a mask, and I show up to the editor's place and it's like leave it on the steps, and then you come down and trying to like distance.
Sounds like a covert operation. Like
Yeah, no, it definitely felt like that. When I was retrieving the drive from our first editor, we unfortunately had to let go. Only her roommate was home. So she literally was like, text me when you're downstairs. I'll leave it in a paper bag on the stairs. and then you come in the lobby after I run back upstairs. Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, I guess that's the world we live in. We just have to be willing to work with people, you know?
Yeah, as we learn. Um, yeah, in terms of hashtag, I haven't done any new content there.
Mhm.
Other projects I've been involved in, but not I wasn't producing those or.
Okay. Do you have videos that you have yet to release with hashtag?
No, so now all of our, so we were busily editing weekly, which was also an interesting new thing to do between our two editors and myself actually editing. And I have decent skills editing, but learning new things was definitely an interesting trial, and like on Adobe Premiere and then also on YouTube, like figuring out, okay, how do I sync up the audio and why is it not working? And let me try a different technique.
Right.
Um,
So you just like
and
looked
my
up tutorials on YouTube and
tutorials, my roommate is a film teacher too, who I also know from a long time. So he gave me some a good couple resources to look at too.
oh, that's
Um,
great.
yeah, so it was like learning on. It was really great for me to resharpen my editing skills and refresh all that. There's like a very producing independently is so great and freeing, but I think there's like standards and practices, especially with editing, in terms of like, because all the editors we hired, are professional editors, and they have their specific way that they know, like, okay, you have to log and transcode all this footage, and I didn't know any of that, and quickly realized maybe I didn't have to do it.
Right.
But yeah, just teaching myself that part, and my computer almost dying, and again being home all day and trying to edit all day, and we were able to shoot with a red Gemini camera, and we shot in 4K, so the
Mm.
files are massive, so just like.
Well, the footage looks great. I mean, it's
Thanks. Yeah.
yeah.
So I edited the if you remember, or if people go and look at our sketches after this, the full episodes have what we called the writer's room. So between the sketches, we needed a
Yeah.
glue to like get it together. That actually, that we did film during pandemic. That we did have to like last ditch get something to sew it together, and I edited those moments.
Yeah, and I loved those because it's like it was so fun because you and your sister have such a great chemistry. So it was cool to see like the behind the scenes and just you both riff.
Yeah, yeah.
It's great.
We really wanted to, for a minute we've been having an idea of like recreating what our pitch sessions are like, because they can go off into very very crazy realms, and we also realized that our sketches alone, I mean, while they're great, we needed something to help people find their way into our sense of humor.
Which is how would you describe your sense of humor?
Well, I mean, our elevator kind of one sentence sort of pitch of our show, which I know you're not necessarily supposed to like, liken your show to other shows, but we call it Portlandia meets Chappelle Show. So it's like absurd comedy with a mixture, with social issues and social justice as, the undercurrent of it.
Yeah. Yes. No. That what an accurate description because I was
Mm-hmm.
watching them and I thought, oh my gosh, I can't believe they went there and
Oh,
they did,
yeah. Yeah.
and it's refreshing, you know.
Thanks. And that's what when we first started writing back in 2016. We were just writing, and we had actually another, our youngest sister's boyfriend was also helping us come up with ideas, and we were writing sketches. And at that time, there were no Black or kind of people of color focused sketch shows. Key and Peele had been done for a few years. So we really saw this void, and it was great to see that other sketch shows pop up to fill that need. But at the same time, it's like, oh wow, we thought we were gonna like get in before other people got out there. But Black Lady Sketch Show and what is it, Alternatino on Comedy Central. A few have popped up. That Astronomy Club on Netflix. So it just kind of reconfirmed the desire for it.
Yeah.
And at the same time, they're not doing the same comedy we are. So we felt really like confirmed, but also, yeah.
And what sets you apart as hashtag the show? What sets your web series apart?
I think partially kind of what you said, like we're not afraid to go to those extreme places. I personally, a few of my ideas in particular, I'm not afraid for it to stop being funny. You know, so like there's a few of my sketches I know that start out with this funny premise, and then we take it one or two steps like past the funny part to that more like deeper, like thoughtful part.
Mm.
Where you're maybe not, it's still humorous, but you're maybe not laughing out loud because whatever's happening is actually hopefully making you think more than just be like, well, race relations are hilarious anyway, but actually think about, okay, what's next? Because
Yeah.
the end of that sketch was a little disturbing.
Right. You know, yeah, it does have that. It's funny, but it's also pretty thought provoking. You know,
Mm,
it goes beyond um, just trying to get a cheap laugh, which I really love
mm,
about it.
mm.
I wonder a couple more, several more questions. So, what are those like? How do you cast, and what is that vetting process like? Do you like? How do
It was
you? Yeah, talk about
it
that.
was it was it was pretty difficult, I'd say. 'Cause our first there's so when we first raised some money, just crowdfunding style in 2018, we I just kind of, you know, reached out to friends, people that I kind of knew could do what I needed them to do. Um, and then when we got this grant and we knew we could produce a lot more, um, and our, you know, the sketches are different. It's also the requirement of the sketch, you know.
Right.
Um, and finding people to be willing to do some of the things we do. I mean, not to, you know, it's not exactly a spoiler, but we've done both whiteface and blackface, and asking actors to be in either of those is a very charged thing, you know. And
Right.
you know, I know for myself as an actor, if someone asked me to do whiteface or blackface, I'd have to know it's really like there's a purpose behind it. So
Mm.
having those connections of friends as like my baseline where they, you know, can read what I've done and also trust my, you know, creative process. Because that's the other thing I think on film is so much like,
Right.
as much as like, oh, the script is this and that is that, you know, when the real storytelling is in the editing room, and things can
Mm.
change and switch. And in today's culture, I feel like anything that pops out there that's, I know, even me and my sister, you know, every time we play certain sketches when we're live in the room with the audience, we got to be like, okay, like, are they going to be on board with this or are they going to
Right.
turn on us?
Wow.
You know, but
Yeah.
it
Yeah. Go
was
ahead.
tricky casting this last time because being an actor and having so many actor friends and knowing on set you want that quick rapport, but then there's also so many people that could take that role in so many different ways. So while we did have people we worked with, and we definitely desire working in an ensemble way, like I'm sure watching it, you saw like multiple people, which some people were people I knew in multiple sketches, and some people were new people that we just auditioned in multiple sketches.
Yeah, I saw a lot of
Um,
ACT grads come up then.
yeah, it's been kind of amazing way to like stay creatively engaged with folks that I either was at ACT with or have met
Right.
since
And
then.
ACT being American Conservatory
American,
Theater,
exactly. Yeah.
right? Which you graduated.
Uh, now I'm forgetting. It wasn't that long ago. 2015.
Right. Great. No, that's great. And I love that. I love that you've kind of brought your community with you. Um, and you said a word that I'm sure is, you said trust. So I can imagine that this material kind of lends itself to, or requires a trust of your actors and your fellow storytellers.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, coming in after getting on set, and
Mhm.
also me and my sister taking a more of a role actually performing also was new.
Right.
Our first shoot, we didn't perform at all.
Hmm.
And I specifically kind of didn't want to. I wanted to really focus in on just directing, producing.
Great.
But this go around, just some of the roles just felt like, you know, I should just do it. Some of them I just fell into. There's one role in particular, an actor had a conflict and we were running behind. So last minute, I had to step in and do the role. I mean, it was a very quick, short thing.
You're on like two phones, like, Rafael, can you do it? Yep, I'm
Yeah.
free.
Hold on, maybe. Let me see.
Yeah.
Or
Check my
guys,
schedule.
tell me after lunch. Yeah, I'm gonna shoot. Let me get back. But the way I work too on set, especially sketch comedy wise, you know, we have our script, but you know, we're also looking for our actors to bring themselves to it, and I
Mm.
often will give actors chances to riff on certain moments, and doing that while being in the scene
Mhm.
was challenging, but actually was in the moment. I was like, oh wow, I actually am able to do this better than I thought.
And that's not too much of a nightmare for the editors?
They haven't expressed how difficult it is. I know our original editor, my good friend Sierra, was learning how to deal with the way that I shoot that.
Right.
I coined a term this time around called rolling take moments, RTMs, so that we
I
just
love it.
so you just let the camera roll, and I'll just kind of be side coaching, and even for
Oh, that's
myself,
great.
so like I'll just let it roll, and between what I'm hearing from them and what I'm seeing in the monitor, and what I feel is getting to a funny spot, I'll kind of like push them to go further in something. Doing it for myself was interesting. I was like, I'll do a line, I'm like, wait, let me take that back, okay. Or like,
Yeah. Oh, so you have like this awareness, this kind of like split focus.
yeah, I was definitely concerned, but we got out of it. Really worked.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, in terms of promotion, how do you promote the show and share it?
So we have our Instagram page, which is #theshow. We have our YouTube page. It's all #theshow. We have hashtagtheshow.com. It's a little tricky because there are two other entities that use that same phrasing. One is the hashtag show and one is #theshow, but #theshow is a podcast and the hashtag show is a narrative web series that's not, nothing to do with us. But so just that kind of brand awareness thing was one of our first things, making sure people know it's #theshow is one word. You can put the hashtag in front of hashtag, telling people you spell out hashtag. And then our logo, we hired a graphic designer to make a logo, and even figuring out what we want our logo to be, what the font wanted to be, how, I think she created a font for us. And then if you see our logo, there's like a little hand that clicks, and like, where does that hand go? And what color is the hand? And what color are the letters and all that.
Every step along the way, there's creative decisions to be made.
Yeah. And then my sister kind of took the reins this go around since I was editing in terms of like how the thumbnails looked and how our G page looks, and she hired people to make memes that utilize still images from our shoots. Yeah, that was really great. And a couple of those memes, I mean, it's like already like built for a meme, and then you just add something. So it really was a great idea on her part.
That's such a great idea. It was a great way to promote memes. You and your sister seem like you make such a great team together. And like, I think a lot of viewers, actors, performers, creatives can get in their head about ideas, but they're not sure how to execute. So can you talk a little bit about like how you keep showing up for yourself? Where does the motivation come from? Where's the accountability? How does that work for you and your sister, or you individually?
Yeah, I mean, finding that motivation to keep going is so tricky as an artist constantly, especially I feel like nowadays, being one myself, but I feel like everybody is these days, of having multi hyphenated, I guess is the word now. I remember back in the day it was like slashes, you had all these slashes in your title. But I guess being a multi hyphenated creator, for me it's a lot of like figuring out where to put my focus, and how to then focus in on that thing without letting other ideas or things pop up. The way me and my sister do it, we have a Slack line. I think a lot of like modular things help me with that. So kind of like, especially because she's my sister.
A Slack line.
Yeah. So I don't know if people are aware of Slack is a messaging system that I guess a lot of offices and startups and businesses use. So again, my sister uses that with Fractured Atlas, and you can set up an account for free. So then we have our hashtag Slack. And because she's my sister, we're in multiple communication lines. We have our we have our direct text messages. We have our family WhatsApp chat. We have me and her husband's chat all together. We have multiple.
Nowhere to hide.
Yeah, exactly. So then when we message on Slack, it's hashtag business. And like there'll be moments when it's like we're messaging on Slack about hashtag, and then we're messaging in our family chat about something, and then we're also like direct messaging on on text messaging about something else.
That's great. So it sounds like so setting up those different messaging systems, you're able to compartmentalize family, business, and you're both able to stay pretty focused in that regard.
I think so, because we also be like you're asking about how we are separate and together, and that's kind of what helps us. I think we come together on hashtag, but I also think we both realize how hashtag is a mode that can open other doors for us individually as well. My sister is moving more to get back into more acting and writing, and I'm looking at it, more writing and directing. So and even in that, so we started working together at a young age. Just my mom worked for a theater company growing up.
Oh, cool.
And so we were kind of always around it.
What theater company did she work for?
It was called New World Theater. It's a really amazing company. If you look it up.
Still going?
No, unfortunately it closed. I forget exactly when it closed, many years ago now. But people like Universes, who created Party People, came out. Like, they're some of our mentors. Carl Hancock Rux, Willie Perdomo, who's helped start New York Poets Cafe. We had really amazing Alice Tuan, playwright, Jorge Ignacio Cortinas. We had really amazing multicultural artists that we could see doing things professionally and realize, this could be possible for us. We were, so in that, they had a video camera in the early 90s, and my mom would bring it home and we would just mess around with this video camera and create little sketches even at 8 and 5 years old.
That's great. So that's why collaboration just seems like it comes so natural to you both.
Yeah.
So a couple more questions. I wonder if any resistance arises or something or distraction comes up, how do you overcome that and keep going? What do you do?
That is a great question. It can be really difficult when those obstacles pop up, especially I feel like in quarantine. We like I was saying, we definitely had several obstacles trying to, even in post-production, was so difficult, even though that's way more easy to do remotely. Just like I was saying, like hiring an editor and then having to let them go, and drives and this and that. Honestly, I think a lot of it, when I would find myself a little bit too frazzled artistically, creatively, and I think it also speaks to what you're saying, how do you stay motivated, is to check in and disconnect and actually work on your, self-care and, work on your internal well-being. Because I know for me, that's a lot of where it stems from. If I'm a little frazzled in my own well-being, that's going to make any other task, really difficult.
And what are some ways that you take care of yourself?
In this, working out, just especially it was so hard now and the gyms were closed. So figuring out how to work out in my room. I tore my Achilles last December too. So I had this double obstacle of I couldn't even do the workouts. I had to learn a whole new way to even work out. Usually I really enjoy, because working out I feel like is really great for me in terms of effort and working out stress, but I really love yoga for the more centering, grounding, kind of reconnecting to your breath. It feels very close to a lot of actor training, but I couldn't do yoga with my Achilles in a cast, and then also just not being able to do stuff. So figuring out different ways to work out. I had chair workouts, CBD oil. I don't know if people are aware of CBD oil, but it's a really nice, calming. I guess it's a drug. I'm not sure.
Well, if it works, it works.
Yeah.
And I that's so great. I see you really rerouting though. You seem like that's what I see in your leadership is something comes up, you just reroute, and you have this bigger commitment.
Thanks. But one thing I will add too that I really took for granted, and I think I'll speak for myself, but I think more people have this, is that I think being creative and having your life be tied to creativity, there's always a need for it to be productive, and for it to be productive creativity. You can't just do something for the enjoyment of it. And it's something I still struggle with, but I think the times I've been able to reconnect with that just raw, I want to try this thing and I want to do this, and it doesn't necessarily have to have a monetary or career like result from it. It's just something that my creative brain needs to get to work on. You know?
Wow, it sounds like you're really in touch with that inner child, that person who still wants to just play.
Yeah.
And you let that out.
Yeah, and what's funny is though, then thinking about that, something that was like that actually made it into a sketch where I don't know if you remember the sketch Totes Woke, which had Brostradamus in it.
With the superhero.
Yeah, so that whole animated like intro origin story, I made that whole animation.
Oh, nice.
And I made this. I mean, you could probably tell because it's my voice. I made the song. I made the beat. I made the lyrics, and then even I wasn't even sure. Like I sang the kind of little singing hook until I was like, "Oh, Aisha, maybe you should see what it sounds like for you to do this hook." And she did the hook, and she even changed my inflection, and it worked better. So we kept it the way she did it.
Wow.
But yeah,
a question about, so that's so cool. I want to got to wrap up soon, but did you also do the Ben Quinn's short did you do the rap?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So originally in the original
we'll link to that video too because it's so funny.
Because originally that was DMX's I forget, there's like an intro to a DMX CD that has like him saying the N-word a month, you know, and it's DMX, and like, so the idea of like I won't ruin the sketch, but so when you listen to the sketch and you, Timothy, knowing it, I just tried to channel my inner DMX for that track.
Yeah, it sounded like it, and it rode that perfect line of like genuine, authentic, and satire.
Yeah,
so, I think you both bring that.
Thanks.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for showing up. Is there anything you want to promote, share, reference?
I mean, really, right now it's just, for me, it's #theshow. And again, we're on YouTube, #theshow, spell out hashtag, on our IG, #theshow. You can also check out my personal IG, which is Rafael is cool but rude, spelled with an F. If people remember the old Ninja Turtles cartoon, that's where I got my handle from. And check out my sister too. She does amazing stuff with Black Nerd Problems. She's doing a lot of amazing, like, kind of more like journalistic type work as well.
And what's her IG?
Her IG is Aisha J28.
We'll find it. We'll
link it. Might not.
We'll make sure we get it.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, hey, Ayelet, want to come back and say what you want to say? She's
yes.
Bring us home.
Like, I went up for a sandwich.
Right.
That was awesome. I was starting to look up your sister's Instagram.
Yeah. Don't look us both up. When you start looking at my sister, you're like, oh wow, she's really impressive.
No, I'm impressed. You guys both sound like what you said of like multi-hyphenated creators, like directing, writing, acting, producing, animating, songwriting, singing. It's ridiculous. It's definitely inspiring, and I think people watching are probably equally inspired. And I've been ending the other two interviews saying this, but it's worth saying again that if you're watching this like feeling inspired, but you're also comparing yourself like, oh my God, I've done nothing during this time. Don't worry. That's what we're here for. That's what this whole group is about. Like, getting us all moving and making, holding each other accountable and like inspiring each other. And I'm going to host an accountability challenge in the group on September 8th, 9th, and 10th. So I'm putting the registration link here in the comments. So join that and get your stuff moving. It's going to be really inspiring, and we're going to hold each other accountable. So thank you, Rafael. Thank you so much. It was good to get to know you.
Yeah,
and
thank you,
Timothy, thank you for a skillful interview.
Timothy.
And we'll see you guys. We'll see you guys soon.
Yeah.